Welcome to the City of San Antonio Department of Arts and Culture Contract Renewal and Reporting Workshop for 2023 Events Program. With you today is the Grants Management Team, our Contract Officer Ellen Goes-Hockaday, our Contract Officer Victoria Garcia, and our Contract Manager Karen Lagos. I'm Amanda Montalvo, Management Analyst, and I'll walk you through this process. As of November 16th, we will begin year 2 of the 3-year cycle for events program. This workshop will provide you with information on the contract renewal process, the 2023 contract and requirements, reporting and payment timeline, tools and online systems, and marketing. Please write down your questions as we'll open the floor for a Q&A after the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, please send a message in the chat box to our host, Ellen Goes-Hockaday. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. The process for contract renewal is straightforward. Look for the 2023 contract renewal in GoSmart. Upload and submit required documents by November 30th at 5:00 p.m. for our approval. If you have not already done so, submit your final report for 2022 in GoSmart to close out this year's contract. Your final 2022 payment will come when we approve the final report. We need to execute your renewal contract for 2023 and we'll pay your first 50% 90 days before your event. Speaking of GoSmart, log on to sanantonio.gosmart.org and click the category at the top, Current Programs and Applications. Look for the white box at the top right and enter the invitational code 2023 Renewal with no spaces. Scroll down until you see 2023 Events Renewal. Click the blue link that says Start. On this screen, the available date shows October, but this was just for our internal testing purposes. It is now available as of November 16th. At the top left, you'll see a list of sections for this application renewal. There will be several questions to answer in each section. You can skip around between sections, just be sure to click the blue Save Work button at the bottom of the page so you don't lose what you've entered. We start off with contact persons. Here is where we want your primary contact's name, title, email, and phone number. We then want you to provide us with a secondary contact, name, title, email, and phone number. If you are a fiscal agent, we ask that you provide the street address of the San Antonio-based community group that will host your event. Enter the physical zip code of your nonprofit agency. If you are applying as a fiscal agent, please enter the physical zip code of the San Antonio-based community group that will host your event. After contact information is provided, enter the name of your event, proposed dates, and event description. We would like you to describe the arts and culture event, including the purpose and programming. This should be the same event you applied for originally, and we're providing this opportunity to update the description of your event with anything that you might do a little differently from what you've learned from the first year of this grant program. What makes the event arts and culture based, and how does it enrich San Antonio's culture? Please be sure to include the dates of your event. Events must occur in calendar year 2023. Enter your estimated number of attendees for your 2023 event as well. Next is the program income statement. You may keep your program income, and attachment 1 to your contract requires grantees to fully disclose all program income to the city. Describe the program income you anticipate as a result of this contract by selecting one of the checkboxes. If you do not anticipate program income, please state that you will have no program income during the term of this contract. For purposes of this contract, program income shall mean earnings of grantee realized from activities resulting from this contract or from grantees' management of funding provided or received under this contract. Such earnings shall include, but shall not be limited to, interest income or any other source of grantee-generated income resulting from fees charged or services rendered to other outside sources, usage or rental lease fees, income produced from contract-supported services or individuals or employees, or from the use of equipment or facilities of grantee provided as a result of this contract, and payments from clients or third parties for services rendered by grantee pursuant to this contract. Applicants must produce an event that benefits the San Antonio tourism industry. Please describe how your event benefits the tourism industry in San Antonio. Please be sure to hit the Save Work button before moving forward as well. Using the drop-down feature, please select the City Council district for your proposed event. If you are not sure what council district your proposed event location falls under, click on the blue hyperlink and enter the address of where your event will be occurring. If you get a 0, this means that your event is not in the city limits of San Antonio, and you must find a different venue within the city limits. Your event does not have to be at the same location each year, but it must be within the San Antonio city limits, not in Alamo Heights or Leon Valley. Next, provide the name of the facility for the proposed location of your event in the text box provided, as well as the address and zip code. Please be sure to hit the Save Work button before moving forward and selecting the Next button. Planning DLE. Click on this link to download the 2023 Planning DLE and list expenditures that you plan for the total contract amount in 2023. Once you are finished, use the Upload button below to submit the Planning DLE in the Excel worksheet format provided. Do not PDF the DLE document. Include only the following allowable expenses in this plan: contracted services and artist fees, including travel and per diem in the amounts allowed by the United States General Services Administration scale for San Antonio; production expenses specifically designated for the project, such as production management, staging, sound and lighting, and related equipment rental. Equipment purchases is not allowable unless the total cost of the rental will exceed the purchase cost of the equipment. Space rental, including stage and other rentals for the project only. Marketing and promotion for the project, including media ads, graphic design, website management, and promotional materials and printing costs. And lastly, insurance for the project. Don't forget to save work before moving to the next page. Finally, you will be redirected to the Ethics Forms section. To complete the forms, click on the hyperlinks titled Contracts Disclosure Form, Form CIQ Conflict of Interest Questionnaire, and CIQ Addendum or CIQA. A PDF form should be generated for each form. Please be sure to complete each form in its entirety and save on your desktop. When you are ready to upload your forms, click the Upload File button. A new window will open. Be sure to upload the forms in the provided Choose file. Acceptable forms can be uploaded as a text, PDF, doc, docx, Excel sheet, JPEG, or PNG. Once your file is selected, please be sure to hit the blue Upload File button to close out the open window. Once all of your files are uploaded, you should be able to see your current files. Do not forget to hit the Save Work button before selecting the Next button. Now it's time to submit your 2023 Events Renewal application. First, you will click on Final Submission, indicating that you confirmed information before submitting your application. Once submitted, information becomes read-only and cannot be changed. Then select the Submit button. You will receive a pop-up box confirming that you want to submit your application renewal, which you will select OK. Then your submission is complete. You will receive a notification from GoSmart via email confirming your submission and next steps. Reporting timeline. As a recap, January 1st, 2023 is when contracts begin. You have from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 to hold your event. You must post your event at least 30 days prior to your event date. If updates are made towards your event, such as a change in location, name change of event, change in dates, etc., you must let your contract monitor know at least 2 weeks in advance. Your first payment will be processed 90 days prior to the event, upon receipt of your interim report in GoSmart. We review reports on a first-come, first-served basis. The earlier you submit your report, the sooner we can review, approve, and submit for payment. For your interim report, please be sure to add your vendor number, event schedule, run of show, artist selection process, inform us of the number of artists or San Antonio artists you intend on having, and marketing plans. Please keep in mind, if you need to update billing information, you must reach out to vendor support at vendors@sanantonio.gov to update W-9s and billing information. The final report can be found in GoSmart and consists of an updated detailed list of expenditures, or DLE, photo of events, number of attendees, number of artists or San Antonio artists, and backup materials, also known as source documents. This is what we look for in backup materials. Do you have a total number of attendees? Did you upload 2 sources proving payment to contractors, bank statements or canceled checks, and an invoice or contract or a receipt? Contracts, if you choose to attach a contract, must show signatures of both parties. Also, has sales tax been excluded? Because the city cannot pay for sales tax. There are 2 scheduled payments. The first 50% of payment is processed after the interim report is received, approved, and 90 days prior to the event. The second 50% of payment is after the final report is received and approved. Once staff approves your report, we will process payment via ACH or auto deposit. It can take up to 2 weeks to receive payment. Tools and online systems. You'll upload a DLE in GoSmart. You'll use the same GoSmart system that you used in the 2022 grant application. You'll upload your event on Get Creative San Antonio calendar as well. Next, let's talk about your DLE. This is essentially the same DLE you've populated for this year. All the same allowable expenses from your contract are populated as line items on the DLE. At times, we update this form in GoSmart, so use only the version that we provide in GoSmart. Columns A through E are where you will fill in the date of your supporting documentation, description, vendor, invoice number, check number, and the amount that your awarded funds are going towards. Along with your DLE, you must upload 2 source documents proving payment. Column G through K are for department use only. In columns G and H, this is where your contract monitor indicates that you uploaded 2 source documents or backup materials proving payment to contractors. That will consist of bank statements or canceled checks, and an invoice or contract or receipt. Your source documents should also exclude sales tax. The city, again, cannot pay for sales tax. Contracts must show signatures of both parties as well. You may apply your grant towards 6 sections. As seen in this slide, you may apply your grant towards Section 1, Contractual Services and Artist Fees, Section 2, Production Expenses. In this slide, you will see that you may apply your awarded funds towards Section 3, Rental, Section 4, Security and Barricades, Section 5, Marketing and Promotion, and lastly, Section 6, Liability Insurance. Please remember that you must provide 2 source documents or backup materials as stated before. In this slide, your total on the DLE should match up to your awarded funds. Your awarded funds will be the same amount every year. For example, if I was awarded $1,500 for 2022, then for 2023, I will have the same $1,500. The event period is from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Your contract period is from January 1st, 2023 through February 15th, 2024. Please note that if your project is scheduled for late in the calendar year, all reports and documents must be submitted by January 20th, 2024, as we need time to close out your contract. Failure to complete the project may result in an agency being deemed ineligible to apply for future grant funding. You must comply with the funding program's requirements and all contract obligations. Read your contract and the core grant program guidelines. The guidelines can be found at sanantonio.gov/art grants. Speaking of your contract, let's look at that now. The next several slides are all about your contract. The type of contract we will use is called an agreement to use funds. We'll populate your vendor number, contract number, and purchase order at the top right and your agency name as the grantee. There are opening paragraphs that state the Department of Arts and Culture is the managing department, the background, purpose, source of funds, the department's core grant programs that establish the grant opportunities and processes, the date the San Antonio Arts Commission approved your grant, and the ordinance that authorizes your grant. Section 1 says that in exchange for your award, you agree to provide, oversee, administer, and carry out all activities to our satisfaction as described in Attachment 1 to this contract. We'll look at Attachment 1 in a few minutes. Section 2, your expenditures must match the budget and timeline you filled out in your application interim report in GoSmart online system. Section 3 says that there are restrictions that must be adhered to regarding your awarded funds, which can be seen in Attachment 2, which we'll look at Attachment 2 in a few minutes. 4, your accounting records can be subject to an audit by the city, and you need to keep all accounting records for 4 years from the end of your contract. 5, your contract will start January 1st, 2023 and end February 15th, 2024. If your project is scheduled late in the 2023 contract period, all reports and documents must be submitted by January 20th, 2024. We need this amount of time to review your final report and backup documents, process payment, and close out to your grant. 6, you cannot assign this contract to someone else to complete your project. You are the only person responsible for your project, completing all requirements and complying with this contract. 7, if you don't use all your awards, or if your project does not comply with the purpose of the grant as stated in the request for applications and this contract, we may terminate the agreement and you will have to refund unused contract is terminated. This will apply even after the contract is terminated. 8, you cannot use these funds for or to benefit a religious or sectarian facility, either directly or indirectly. 9, as discussed earlier, you are required to submit an interim report and a final report through the online GoSmart system on the date specified. 10, indemnity means you cannot request compensation or sue the city for any loss related to this contract or grant. You must notify us within 24 hours if someone makes a claim or demand against you or the city as a result of activities under this contract. The city has the right to select or approve your defense counsel. You must retain your city-approved defense counsel within 7 business days of our written notice. Otherwise, the city has the right to retain our own defense counsel, and you will be liable for costs incurred by the city. The city can also be represented by an advisory council at its own expense. Claims against your employees or subcontractors cannot be covered by the city, including workers' compensation. 11. You agree to comply with the city's non-discrimination policy not to discriminate based on race, color, religion, nationality, sex or sexual orientation, gender identity, veteran status, age, or disability, unless you are exempt by state or federal law. 12. You must ask in advance for the city's written approval to use these funds as match for any other funding. You cannot use costs for this grant as costs under another contract or grant from the city or other agency. 13. You, your employees, and any of your subcontractors who are not employees of the city, and the city is not responsible for your actions or their actions. 14 consists of this section states the address where official communication will be sent regarding this contract. Please notify us of your address change within 5 business days. 15. Anything in this contract that is determined to be invalid will not invalidate the rest of the contract, and the section that is determined invalid will be updated. 16. You guarantee that you are responsible for and if you have the legal authority to sign this contract. 17. City officers and employees cannot benefit from your contract. Tell us if you or one of your relatives is a city officer or employee, or is the parent, child, or spouse of a city officer or employee. If they own 10% of your business or are your subcontractors for this grant. 18. You must adhere to the city policy and related federal and state statutes to provide a workplace free of employment discrimination, harassment, and sexual harassment with your employees, subcontractors, artists, and volunteers. 19A. If your event contains sensitive subject matter or graphically violent and/or sexually explicit nature, you must place a bilingual notice that within view or parental discretion is advised, and forward a copy of the notice to the department 30 days in advance of the event. 19B. You must also hold the performance or exhibit in a separate area not visible to the public who may not choose to view it. 19C. If you don't comply with these requirements, the city can terminate this agreement. You may not knowingly encourage, foster, promote, or fund an event that includes obscene materials as defined by Section 43.21 of the Texas Penal Code. This is just the signature line in reference to the contract attachments. Speaking of your attachments, 1. Your project event must benefit tourism by providing the creative ambience of arts and culture that showcase the unique San Antonio experience. 2. You are required to post your event to the department's event calendar 30 days in advance, and we provide you with the website link. In the primary category, be sure to select grantees first so that we can tag your event to include in our push. 3. Your event must be available to all members of the general public and held within the city limits of San Antonio. 4. Commercial events are not permitted. 5. You must invite your contract monitor to attend your public event free of charge. You agree to provide photos of your completed project and the public event showcasing your project. You grant the city a perpetual non-exclusive royalty fee right to use the photos for promotional purposes, and you grant the city a license to sublicense the photos to visit San Antonio for promotional purposes of the city. Allowable expenditures for this grant are contracted services and artist fees, including travel and per diem, and the amounts allowed by the United States General Services Administration scale for San Antonio, production expense specifically designated for the project, such as production management, staging, sound and lighting, and related equipment rental. Equipment purchase is not allowable unless the total cost of the rental will exceed the purchase cost of the equipment. Space rental, including stage and other rentals for the project only. Marketing and promotion for the project, including media ads, graphic design, website management and promotional materials, and printing costs. And lastly, insurance for the project. Again, the first payment of 50% of the agreement amount will be made upon submission and acceptance by the city of the interim report in GoSmart grant system. The planning DLE is something you already submitted through your grant application. The first payment will be made no sooner than 90 days from the first day the event will be open to the public. After project completion, grantee must submit the final report in the GoSmart grant system, which includes a DLE and all required supporting documentation, including total attendance of the event, and a program income statement and program income report. The final payment of 50% of the agreement amount will be made upon city's acceptance of the final report. Attachment 2. Funding cannot be used for anything not allowed by our funding sources, workshop or educational programs on school campuses that are provided by the school, government institutions or programs, capital improvement, purchase of real estate, benefits or fundraising, cash prizes, recreational, rehabilitative or therapeutic programs, political or religious purposes, receptions or social activities, deficit or debt reduction, or litigation. Marketing and communication support. As a reminder, we will require you to upload your arts and culture events to the Department of Arts and Culture calendar. You can create a logon and upload your events directly to the department's calendar at events.getcreativesanantonio.com/login. As a Department of Arts and Culture funded organization, please be sure to select the grantee category when you create your events. If you have questions on how to upload your event to our calendar, email arts@sanantonio.gov. Speaking of the calendar, let's take a look at that. This is the page where you will log on and add your event to our department calendar. You must post your event a month in advance. Once you are on your Get Creative San Antonio account, select the Add New Event button and fill out all required information. Please keep in mind that under category type, you must select Grantee as your primary category. After that, you may select a secondary category to follow. That concludes our presentation, and thank you so much for attending. Let's open the floor for questions now. Please raise your hand. Ellen, do we have anyone with questions? I don't see any just yet in the chat or any raised hands. But I know some folks may have questions later on in the day. You may not have something just yet, but you might think of something later on. I see that Rebecca Barrera has raised her hand, and Rebecca, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Thank you. Excuse me, I had surgery yesterday, so they put something in my throat and it's kind of grungy. Um, my question is, our event next year is the 25th anniversary, and we wanted to make it really big.
Rebecca, sorry, what was that? Did you say something?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. So our event next year is the 25th anniversary of this festival in San Antonio. And we want to make it really big, but we don't want to leave our neighborhood in the barrio in 78207. So what we'd like to do is publish a how-to book and put it in all the libraries, the churches, the schools, and see if people all over the city are willing to do local community events of their own. Is the printing of that handbook or the development of that is not something that we can use any of our grant for? We'll have to work with an artist to lay out the book and have it printed. Or I remember once before I was told by another department that the city could pay for printing directly. Is that feasible or not? I think it was the Center City Operations that offered us the opportunity to print signs and things like that.
Karen, do you want to clarify this?
Or should we just go to the city council and ask them for a different sponsorship for the expansion of the festival?
So Rebecca, we would not want you to go to City Council to seek additional funding for this particular festival. That was part of the agreement in the original application. So this is the total funding that you're going to receive toward the festival. But I would say that if you're using the book to distribute for additional marketing purposes, so that folks will be aware of the 50th anniversary and that you're encouraging them to do neighborhood extension of the festival that's going to be home based in CD7, I think it was, you said, right? City Council 7?
It's gonna be in 07, right.
So then I would
Council 5.
consider, okay, great. So I would consider that your printing costs would be considered part of marketing, which is a line item in your detailed list of expenditures. It is one of the allowable expenses.
Okay.
And so you could utilize your grant funds toward that. Just remember that the grant funds are the same every year for the 3 years that you have this grant opportunity. It's a 3-year cycle. So the funding does not increase. It does not change.
Okay, got it. Okay, our partner though does get funding from what is it called? City Center Operations. Our partner is the Avenida Guadalupe, and they were able to secure a banner in their grant. They're not our to promote the festival, and I think they were making some other offers to support because it costs more than $5,000 to do this festival. So that's just a question. I'll stay in touch with Amanda as things develop and we get closer to the festival information. Thank you. That's all I needed. Okay. I hope some of you can come this year. It should be really wonderful. We had a little rain last year, so it kind of stopped the festival for a little bit. It got better at the end when the rain stopped.
We look forward to it.
Thank you. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Rebecca. Are there any other questions? I'm still looking. Nothing has popped up just yet. Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat. I don't see any raised hands. Alrighty. Well, if there aren't any more questions, or if as soon as we get off, and someone does have a question, feel free to reach out. As you can see on the screen, my email is amanda.montalvo2@sanantonio.gov. You can email me or phone call, and we'll be able to respond to those questions. Thank you everyone for participating in this workshop, and that concludes our meeting. Thank you all so much.